Hey everybody, it's Aquila, and this is Lefty Knitter Podcast, episode 152. This is a podcast coming to you from Baltimore, Maryland, and it's gonna be kind of warm today. I think they said it was gonna get like close to 70 degrees. That's a little, not normal for this time of year, but then it's gonna go back down, and we're getting rain today, so... This is a podcast about knitting, crocheting, machine knitting, all the crafty things, and I have some sewing, because, I have to show you that. I post through the week, and I record through the week, and then I post on Saturdays. I am very late in recording this week. I worked on stuff, but nothing was like... I didn't get a lot done on anything to where I was like, oh, I need to record this. So I didn't. I have a cat who is being very nosy. This is Luna Tuna. Say hi, Luna Tuna. Boom. Oh, you're so cute. She is getting a new kitty cat tower today. So she is our tripod cat. If you are new to the podcast, if you are returning to the podcast, you would have probably met Luna already. We have 3 cats actually, but she's getting a new tower, which is going to be much more friendly for her only having 3 legs. She's missing one of her back legs, which, you know, really does become a problem when she's trying to jump up on things. So our cat tower was getting old anyway, and she gets up in it, but she pretty much like pulls herself up with her front claws, and it's just not very good for her. So we ordered a new one. The other one was like 10 years old, or I don't know. It's old. I just hope the cats don't like fight over it, but we'll find out. Okay, this is not a podcast about cats. How often do I do that? All right. I showed you guys that I was starting a sewing project. I was making a quilt top, and I have finished the quilt top. This is it. This is the Jelly Roll Race quilt, and what you do is you take, well, I only use 2 jelly rolls. Once it gets any bigger than this, it's a little hard to sew on my machine. I only have a Singer Simple, a tiny machine I got from Walmart like many moons ago. So I had linked it in the last podcast, I believe. I'll make sure I link it down below also for you to view. And you just take jelly rolls, you sew them end to end, and then you take that long strip of fabric and you sew them together, and then you cut it at when you meet it, the halfway point at the fold, and you just keep doing that over and over. I have a little clip I'll pop in, because the way the fabric was coming out the back of the machine just was really cool looking, and I recorded it. Hazel has claimed this. Hazel is my little monster child. So this is so much fun. I inspired someone that watches my podcast, so hi. And I just want to say I am so... and we've been talking back and forth, and I'm just like, that's so cool. Like, they've now went out and bought more jelly rolls to make themselves a quilt, because I don't want to say she, he, I don't know the pronouns. I'm just gonna, they made one from just stuff they had on hand, and then was kind of obsessed. And it is like addicting, like it's because it's such a cool little simple project. So went out and bought more fabric. Not me, they did. But I just love it. Okay, so I think I had said I stitched in the ditch on the other blanket, but I don't think I did. In my machine, I think getting through, I mean, you're not going through tons of layers, but at some point when you're trying to stitch, you stitch in the ditch means you stitch where the pieces came together, but then you're trying to stitch through like 3 layers of fabric, then the batting or the quilting batting, and then a back. So I think I didn't do that. I know I pinned it all together. Like I'm looking at my other one. It looks like I stitched like next to it on every other row. So instead of stitching in the ditch here, like where the fabrics meet, I think I just stitched offset to the side a little on every other strip. I'm pretty sure that's what I did. And I'll probably do that with this too, because, or I might do something completely different. I've tried freehand quilting on my little machine, and I bought like the little foot you're supposed to use or whatever, and it just it doesn't turn out really great. I'm not good at it. I would need much more practice, and that's really not the machine to be doing it on. It's way too small. So I might do like some zigzags or something, but I probably won't and end up just doing straight lines. Let's be honest here. It's not lazy. It's just my machine's just not set up for like quilting. So that's being honest, right? It's just not, and I'm not going to invest in a machine, and I'm not going to have this sent out to be quilted. Or should I? I don't know. I'd have to see how much that costs. I'm trying to keep these cost effective. Like I even said, for the backing, I use sheets that I get from like Marshall's or Ross or like those discount stores and even thrift stores. I've bought sheets from thrift stores to make projects out of. So cost effective. The most money spent will probably be on the batting that goes on the inside, which I do have some of, so I might not have to buy any for this project, but I don't think I have enough for the next one because I have 2 more jelly rolls. So, all right, moving on. I started a new project. I shouldn't have started a new project because A, I have Hazel's other blanket. B, I have a sweater that I've still not shown you guys. And I will, I promise. And then I have my granny stripe blanket. I have the Just Feel Cozy wrap. But the Just Feel Cozy wrap on Monday, I finished the last bit of yarn that I had planned to put in it. And it was measuring only like 45 to 47 inches. It's now blocking on my bed and it's over 70. So it's over what Caleisha had said it should be. I'm doing that and I'll talk about it more for the Black History Month. I'll show it once it's dried. It's on my bed. The fan is blowing on it. It's blocking. Yeah. I cast on a pair of socks. I needed another on-the-go type project. The sweater is just not conducive for on-the-go. That huge giant cake for Hazel's blanket isn't either. And the wrap I finished. So I needed something. And if you don't watch Heather, who is Bunniphish Crafts, you should. She does her episodes also vlog style. She is I know the word. She's like a para at a school, like the assistant. Like she's like, it's not an assistant. My other daughter does the same thing, and I can't even think of words right now. Okay, so she does that, but she also works at a yarn shop and teaches at a yarn shop and whatnot, and that's awesome. So like she's very, very knowledgeable. Her and I have talked on Instagram, you know, like texting, whatnot, or messaging. Texting's like so... Kids today don't text. They use all the apps to message. Okay. Okay, Heather from Bunniphish. She's always, I feel like she gets so much done. So she is also like, she loves to plan things. She has lists. She's a planner. That's totally not me. Totally not me at all. She cast on these socks though, and they were so cool looking. I immediately went and like favored it or queued it in Ravelry, and it's called the Fruit Stripe Gum Socks, and it's by Leah Oakley. Oh my god, they're so cool. I'll insert a picture of what they like look like here from the pattern designer, the designer's page, and I'll show you what I've done. I don't think I mentioned that I was recording on Thursday. I started talking about it and then I never finished my thought, and now it's like come back in my head. It's Thursday. It is the 17th of February, because I know I didn't mention the date. So I cast on a pair. I did it, y'all. And of course, because I'm left-handed, my stitches go the other way, my stripes are going to go the other way, and technically you could do the other sock so the stripes go the other way. You would just have to switch your knit two together and your slip knits. But I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. Heather and I were having a conversation about that also. I am using my knit picks because it looks the coolest with, honestly, self-striping yarn. So I dug out some Felici I had because I wasn't sure if I was going to love the pattern and I didn't want to use all my like hand-dyed self-striping. I was being very cautious because the notes I had read on a few of the projects, I was worried about the stitch count and the sizing, because you're doing like a texture. You're doing whatever on the leg, and I didn't want it to not fit. So this is the What's It's Galore colorway from Felici. This is Knit Picks, and I love these colors. I mean, these are going to be for me. I'm using my Chigu US size 1s, and I'm knitting 9-inch circulars in the round. So it's so cool looking. I love them. I was a little concerned about, it looks kind of holy, but it's not. And I also was a little sad looking at some of the pictures of people's projects that once they're on your foot, they don't look as cool because it's like stretched out. But that's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So I did like 12 rounds of 2x2 rib, and I'm working now just on the leg. I'm probably going to do an afterthought cut and heel, so I will stop the patterning and I'll have a little bit of just plain knitting before where I would put my heel, because you don't want, I guess you don't want this like really on the back of your heel, on your Achilles heel, like there. Just like when you're doing like a heel flap and gusset, you're always doing a little bit extra before you start that or whatever, if there's like patterning. So yeah, I love these. I'm using one of my ball beanies. This is one of the misfits that just, the 50 grams fit really nice in it. So yeah, it's like a yarn koozie for your balls. Okay, I gotta stop. 12 minutes. 12 minutes, and I showed you a quilt top and like 3 inches of a sock. That's okay. I'm feeling better. I still haven't gotten in with my pulmonologist, but the inhaler has been helping. So thank you to everyone who, you know, has asked how I've been doing and whatnot. So yeah, I'm just day by day, y'all. Day by day. That's what it is. So, all right. I need to wrap this up. I'll talk to you guys in the next clip. Today is Friday, February 18th, and I have a little bit to show you. I blocked my Just Feel Cozy wrap. It's not done though, because I have some ends to kind of tuck in, but I'm going to show you guys because I'm really, really excited that it blocked out the way I wanted it to. I was a little worried because I had just watched Hannah from the Cozy Cottage Crochet podcast, and she talked about how you can't really block crochet this way, but you can block it like widthwise, and I was like, oh no, I don't need this thing to be any wider. I need it to be longer. But she might have been talking about like something else. I don't know. Mine blocked out quite a bit. So I didn't measure it fully before I blocked it. But I was talking about, so this is the Just Feel Cozy wrap by Caleisha Ryan of the Quirky Monday. She calls it something at Craftcast. And I'm doing this because I'm joining in on Liz, the Black Knitter, is hosting the BK Black History Mal. I think it's a mal, not a cow. And so Caleisha is a Black creator, and so I'm using her pattern. You can use a pattern, yarn, I'm sure there's like pattern or yarn. That's pretty much everything, right? From a Black maker, and you can join in on this cowl, and it's very exciting that I made this. So I wanted to use my Lolo Did It Walking Dead mini set that I had, and it was a glittery base, and I never knew what to put it in. I decided to hold it with, I had some Stroll, was it Stroll? It's a Knit Picks. It was a Sock Lab, Hawthorne. It was Hawthorne, and it was like a marled colorway. So the wrap calls for a DK weight. So I'm holding this strand with the singles of the Lolo Did It yarns. And it starts off like so. And I decided after the first one, I was like, oh, you dummy. You don't have to like break the yarn at the end. Just magic knot it and keep going. Because if you can't get through a whole row, you're wasting quite a bit of yarn. And you can't tell, because it's marled, really where the old color and the new color starts. So let's just show you guys. It's probably very hard to see on camera where a lot of the colors are changing, but it was 9 colors. So then I ran out. And then I thought, okay, if I double up what I have left of my Hawthorne, I'm gonna get like 3 stripes of what I've gotten with the minis. Well, I didn't get that much. You can see I only got maybe 2 stripes worth, but that was fine. So, and I didn't get to all the way to an edge, and I might rip that out, I'm not quite sure. But can you really tell that I went back this way only to here? I have a stitch marker holding it. I might just bind it off. I don't think you can really tell. Just bind it down there. So this blocked out, huge. I am so happy with it. It's over the 70 inches, which Caleisha says in her pattern. Oh my God. So I don't know how to wear like a rectangular wrap like this. Do I wear it like this and do I pin it? Do I get like John to make me a cool little leather collar thing? Do I wear it like I wear my other, like just shawls? I mean, I can wear it however I want, right? I feel like this way it's too, I got a mess going on. I feel like it's too bulky to wear it like this. If I wore it like this, it would be just because it was like super cold under a jacket. I think I'm gonna wear it. I think this is gonna be my work yarn item to keep me warm at work, because I think wearing it like this is really how I'm gonna want to wear it most. So I think it'll just drape on my chair at work, and I love it so much. It's so soft. I feel like I don't really need to show it again. So I did magic knot it, and I just want to tuck them in where I did that. So really I feel like there's no point in showing you guys again. I will take like some pictures so you can see all the colors. The marling really took away a lot of, I feel like you can't even tell that that's a color in there. But I still love this. I still really, really, really love it. And I'm glad I made it. What else have I been doing? I've been working on that sock that I showed you, because that's like super addictive, and because it's like portable, it's awesome. And I've been working on my sweater. I promise I'll show you guys that. Maybe I'll show that in this episode. Maybe I'll show it tomorrow. I'm ready I want to try it on to make sure I'm happy. I just got to the point where I'm going to break for the sleeves. So I'm not big on swatching. I know I should for sweaters and stuff, but I just didn't. I don't think I did for this. Because I got so frustrated with the crochet cardigan that I was making with it, I just jumped right into knitting the yarn into something else. But, all right, only one more thing to show you guys, and I am really excited about this because it takes me a little while. Yes, it shouldn't take me a while. I'm using my Whirly Whirly machine. I'm using my Addi king size to make a blanket for John. But it's definitely like, and I have the attachment for the drill, but I just don't like using it. I feel like no matter what I do, it's just too fast, and I feel like I'm gonna break my machine. So I'm cranking a lot, and my arm was like hurting. So I was like, I gotta like take a break. But it's gonna be 6 panels out of yarn that John dyed that he did not love. It was supposed to be a sweater for him, and he didn't love it. And now I'm thinking, man, I wish I would have made it into a sweater. So we have 3 panels finished. Now this is Knit Picks. It's like the Aran weight, alpaca, and wool. I can't remember what that is. It's the tweed one. And he had made, well, if I'm going to have 12 panels, he made 13 skeins of this. And the couple he felted, it was undoable. Like I was able to get it on my Swift. But I have 3 panels so far fully done. Meaning fully done as in I've closed up the edges because it makes a tube. This is going to be so incredibly soft. So I have 3 fully done panels here. And what I did was I just took the balls of yarn because they weren't all the same color, and I just mix matched them so they're 2 of each color. So that's touching the floor and it's under my chin. So you can see where the color changes. I'll lay these out before I mattress stitch them so I'm not putting all the same color next to one another because I think that would be fun. I have one more cranked. This is open at the end. I just crochet it closed. So I make sure I always stop and start on the same needle so this stitch down at the bottom will be still the same stitch 2, where stitch 1 is where you start closing it. So all the stitches will line up. It'll be a nice flat panel. I love this one because it did some crazy pulling. So I have to close this up and take off the waste yarn. And then I'll have 4 out of 6 done. I have 1 extra skein, which is what I'm using to close up the edges, and I'm going to mattress seam it with. And then these 2 are going to go together, and these 2 are going to go together, and I'm going to have 6 panels. Have you seen the blankets? I'm going to find a picture that people make on the Addi machines. I think they're so cool. So people just buy the Addi machine works really well with the size 4 on the label. And certain ones work better than others, just saying. But man, they make these blankets and they're like plaid, or you can do, Leslie made one from Not Quite Enough Yarn. But you just make sure you always crank, like say 20 rows, then change your color. And then on the next panel, if this was like red, blue, I mean, you could do as many colors as you wanted, but you would just switch it so it's like a checkerboard. So blue and red, and then the next panel red and blue. And you always just do the same amount of rows. And as long as you're not putting too much tension on your yarn as it goes in the machine, it'll be the same size. So I really would like to make some blankets like that. It's just a lot of work on my arm. So if I have a new drill, and I haven't used my new drill on the machine. So maybe this drill, I can adjust the settings a little better so it's not like so fast and it freaks me out. All right, that's what I have. That's what I have to show you guys. I haven't done any work on Hazel's big cake blanket. I'm waiting on a tulle that I ordered, and I will tell you guys about that when it comes. And somebody talked about it in the last podcast. and I'll mention them too, because I'll mention that when I get it. But I'm excited to try it only because I'm a pusher. I push my needle back through, and that's not good. Especially when you are doing like stuff with really pointy needles. But these big fat needles that I'm using, the US 15s, it's really taking a toll on my hand pushing. So I have something coming. And that's it. It's Friday. We're going to a brewery, I think. I already packed up Uno to take, so Hazel and I can play Uno. One of John's coworkers is moving on. Bigger and better things. And there's like a brewery right near their job, so we're gonna meet there. I hope there's a food truck, because you know, food trucks. I'm like a fat kid at heart. I love food. Hazel likes food too. We love food. I made the étouffée. I'll post a picture here. John had bought crawfish and shrimp and an alligator, and we had that last weekend. He smoked the gator. We had what the recipe called was like similar to like a lobster roll, but you make this cream cheese mixture and you put the gator in it, and it's like a gator roll. That was good. Not my favorite, but it was good. I'm not gonna, and Hazel liked it. Hazel, she kept eating gator. She's like, this is so good. And I was like, okay, cool. But we picked all the shrimp and all the crawfish, and we made étouffée, which I might be pronouncing wrong because it's probably like a French. Well, I don't know. It's probably French because I think it's like down south Louisiana, New Orleans-ish, like Cajun, and I might have all my stuff mixed up, but isn't the language a mix with French, right? Am I right? Am I wrong? All I know is I've never made a roux that way, the way they did it, with just straight up vegetable oil and flour. And you cook that for like 10 minutes. And then you start adding your vegetables in, which was celery and peppers and onions. And you added that in. And then you really slowly added in. We made a stock, a seafood stock, with the leftover crawfish, because you only eat their tail, and there's so much like that you don't eat, and it's really kind of sad. And so we made a stock, a seafood stock, and we used that in our étouffée. And then I got all fancy with the rice and put it in a dish, and I made it like pretty. I'm such a dork. But that was really good, except for the fact I added exactly what it said for the seasoning, and I added the whole teaspoon of paprika and the whole teaspoon or tablespoon of Cajun seasoning, and I think I should have backed off a little. I think I should have done like half and half and tasted it first. It was a little spicy. Again, probably supposed to be like that. I'm just not used to that. I am not a huge fan of it being overly spicy that you can't enjoy it. But it was good. I still ate it. I had my water on hand, and I ate it. We had leftovers. But now I want the food truck, if there is one. Okay, I need to go. I've been talking way too long about food and more food. But thank you for the suggestion. I was on Barb's Zoom, and somebody was like, make étouffée because you have leftovers. And I was like, okay. And I had to look it up because I didn't know what it was. I'm real cultured over here. Hey everybody, it is Sunday, February 20th, and I know I usually wrap up on Saturday, but the day got away from us, and I didn't get to do that.
I already got dressed, so I don't need to do that.
And my family is just loud all the time. All the time. I didn't really get much done on a lot of projects, so I'm going to show you one project right now. I have other things to show you. I lied. I'm not showing you the sweater today or this episode, and I'm sorry. I have to get it on needles and try it on, and I just haven't. Hold on one second. Okay, we had to shut some doors because noise control. And I have a cat climbing her cat tower right now. Okay, we can proceed. I just want to try that sweater on before I show you guys, and I just didn't get a chance to. And the only thing I worked on really all weekend was the blanket with the yarn that John dyed, the Knit Picks, the Aran Weight, which has the alpaca in it. And that's really all I worked on. I am quite sore today, though, I'm not gonna lie. I was cranking all those panels on my Addi king size, and then I was mattress seaming 6 panels together, so that's 5 mattress seams, and each of these tubes were 240 rows. It was a lot of mattress seaming. I'm not fully done this blanket, but it is put together. I have to weave in some ends, and then I have this much of the 13th ball left that I'm gonna probably just try to do a single crochet all the way around the edge. That's the plan. But I'll show you guys. So I am sore, like my right below, you know, my neck is really sore from like leaning and then cranking, and all of it was a process of me hunching over. Not good for your posture. So just, I was very sore yesterday and today, but I finished seaming this morning, and I'm so happy that it's done seaming. I know alpaca doesn't really hold shape, and it like loses its shape really like quickly. Like I have a shawl that is just like giant, and it's giant. So I have a feeling that this, even though there's wool in it too, is gonna grow with use. John's like, how are you gonna block it? I'm like, I'm not blocking this. Like, this is not getting blocked. So in time, and the cat just fell out of the tower. Luna, are you okay? You okay? Okay, you're okay. Goodness gracious. I don't know what she was doing. But I think just with regular use of the blanket, it'll get bigger. And then, in all honesty, if he wants it any bigger, we'll go out and buy some yarn, or I have some worsted weight yarn I could probably use, worsted / Aran, whatever, and add a little bit more size to this. So I'm going to show you, and then that's going to be all. I have stuff that, I have a package that came that I want to show you, but I don't want to rush it. So I'm going to show you that probably in the next episode. But here we go. Don't mind all the ends because they're still all there. So there's the 6 panels. God, it looks really cool on camera. Like, I know other podcasters have said stuff like this too. Like, when you're looking at it, just visually looking at it, it looks one way, but then when you see it on camera, or when you take a picture of your finished object and show it, like, you know, on the gram or whatever, the colors really stand out. So there's 6 panels across. It was 12 balls of this yarn, and I made 6 tubes with 2 balls that weren't exactly matchy-matchy. So let me just push this back because it's going to be easier to show you this. It doesn't perfectly line up, and I'm okay with that, because when you're cranking on the Addi machine, you're kind of giving it hand tension, and that's not always the greatest because that changes how, like, I'm assuming most of these were pretty close in weight. Knit Picks can be a little heavier or light, you know, just depending, but you can tell that it didn't completely line up in some places because, like, this one was longer or something where it didn't line up exactly across. But I'm okay with that. I think it looks cool. Let's take a picture. Well, this will be the screenshot. Not the greatest screenshot, but that's okay. But I hope everybody's well as they can be. I know let me stop for a minute there. Let me put this down. I've talked about that I'm having a procedure done. I never really said what it was, but I'm okay with telling you all what it is. It's not really like, us ladies have to go and get, well, now it's not yearly, but you get examined and they test you. Well, ever since I can remember, I have had abnormal test results. I have had what's called a colposcopy done many, many times. Pretty much they go in and snip cells, skin, whatever, and they test it. And it always comes back as low grade for cancer, but low grade. Like, I'm going every year, I'm getting checked, blah, blah, blah. Like, it would be caught if it was something significant because I'm diligent about going. After I had Hayes, you know, everything stretches and whatever and disforms the skin and the cells and whatever. And I was good for like, I don't know, 2 years. Because the doctor was like, yeah, that could go away with pregnancy. I was like, cool, that'd be awesome. Well, it didn't fully go away. So I'm taking the next procedure. So colposcopies are done in office, at least at my office. But I have decided with talking with my doctor that we're going to take the next step, and it's called a LEEP procedure. I'll put what it's called here because I can't remember the act. It's LEEP, and it's like loop, electrical, something, whatever. And pretty much they're going to go in and remove part of my cervix. Hopefully this will stop the abnormal tests that come back, and the cat is playing. No, Luna. Ah, go away. Sorry. Hopefully this will make the tests start coming back, not abnormal anymore, and I'll be good. I've had, okay, go away, unicorn. I've had a few friends who have had it done, and, well, one personally that I've actually, like, talked to, and she said she's been fine. So I'm like, oh, I really hope that's my results too. So I'm just taking the next procedure. So that's like, I have to be sedated. I took off work. I gotta like not drink water. I had to have all this stuff done. So, yeah. So preventative care, right? Again, talked about like soon enough I'll have to have like breast exams and whatever else, but there you go. So, again, I'm not like ashamed. It's very strange to be putting that out on the internet though, that like I'm having this done. But again, I think it's also good for women to hear because maybe they've also been going through the same experiences and maybe their doctor's not offered like some sort of alternative. So, or maybe you're like, man, I haven't went for a yearly in like 5 years. I should do that. You should do that. You should do that. All right. So now that I've gotten up on my pedestal and talked about it, I'm going to step down and, you know, so I'll have it's Friday and I have off and it'll be what it is. John will have to drive me and pick me up. Luckily, we're able to have that work out, or else I'd be like Ubering. I don't want to Uber. So, yeah. All right, I have talked a lot. This is going to be a long episode, and I'm really sorry that I really didn't have anything significant to show you other than this monster, but it's going to be really warm and soft and lovely, and, yeah, let me go take care of things. I'll talk to you all in the next episode. Take care of yourself and each other, and, yeah, knit happy. Bye.